Hi, this is my educational leadership video, Inclusive Leadership, Issues of Race, Class, Access, Gender, and Equity. I am Ariella. Nice to meet you. When we were first given this assignment, I went back to the beginning because I didn't really know where to start. So I wrote my first paper on Ken Blanchard and went to his website, the Ken Blanchard Company. There's a lot of really interesting stuff on there. Um, he talks a lot about the contemporary marketplace and how to be a leader today. An interesting quote I found by Juana Bordes, president of the Mestiza Leadership International Group. Um, the U.S. leadership model is often associated with mega bonuses, big offices, and special parking places. These types of perks can result in economic and social chasms between leaders and employees. Today's high-powered CEOs are known for what they take, but as the world flattens, successful companies will be those whose CEOs view themselves as just another part of the company and who place value in the expertise and innovation of their employees. So, similar to what Ken Blanchard says about being partners with your people and working together as a team, he also says that none of us are as smart as all of us, which I completely agree with. He also says people who feel good about themselves produce good results, and is someone who likes to encourage people and, work from the heart. He has written many books. The 1 Minute Manager is probably his most famous, originally published in 1982, and has been reprinted several times. Um, one company that kept coming up as he was speaking was Southwest Airlines. He's worked with Herb Keller, the founder, several times. The mission of Southwest Airlines is dedication to the highest quality of customer service, delivered with a sense of warmth, friendliness, individual pride, and company spirit. Herb Keller says, keep costs low and spirits high, and the people of Southwest Airlines will keep love in the air. Love, L-U-V, is partly their motto, but also the letters they use in the stock exchange. Pretty interesting. And you can see its presence in a lot of their print ads, which I'll show you in a minute. This led me to one of Ken Blanchard's books, Lead with Love, co-authored by Colleen Barrett, who was Herb Keller's assistant as they were forming the airline, and also was eventually their president. Colleen Barrett, the first article I found, she was speaking at Wharton School of Business about servant leadership. She talked a lot about the culture of the company, how they hire and promote, and the general feeling of a family, how they treat everyone with the golden rule. One thing that was interesting, she talked about how they hire people, and that they watch these people to see how do they interact with the baggage handlers, with anyone in the airport as they're on their trip. And they really believe in this golden rule. You could be the most qualified person, but if you're not friendly, if you don't treat people with a sense of humor and a smile, you're not going to get hired at Southwest Airlines. She said everyone at the company has an equal opportunity to contribute to the overall success and well-being of the company. She's often referred to as the Queen of Hearts. The Southwest culture matches a fun-loving attitude with a warrior spirit. Be intuitive. Know what your customers want before they know they want it. And she said, I don't know how you can ever expect to have external customer service be exemplary if you're not doing it internally. So your first customers are your employees. They're the people that make up your company. We try to make heroes out of our people every time they do something right. These are some of the print ads I mentioned. Southwest, from the heart. Heart sets us apart. Love goes a long way. We're pretty good at long distance relationships. Nonstop love from deep in the heart of Dallas. Share the spirits. Colleen also talks about how she wanted to democratize the skies. When the airlines were first formed, it was meant to be an inexpensive short haul flight within Texas, just like they had the short haul flights in California. But she said she wanted to democratize the skies. From the beginning, Southwest embraced diversity because we really made flying available to people from all walks of life. We have an egalitarian approach, everybody matters to us, and there's no second class. That's a core belief in our company that permeates everything that we do. One thing I find hilarious is that as she wanted to open the skies for grandmas to go visit their grandchildren 5 times a year, these were the uniforms. One of their first television ads was talking about their hot pants and how don't aren't you glad that there's finally an airline with hot pants? Um, the current president also talks about diversity. I don't think it's just enough to respect diversity, and I don't think you can simply be open to it. You have to embrace it. Which leads me to my second speech. Ellen Torbett, who is the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, a title they made up because of how they embrace diversity. Ellen Torbett has an interesting story. She grew up, she was not allowed to go to kindergarten. She had to be taught at home. Um, when she finally got to first grade, she said it was miserable. The schools finally became desegregated, and she said it was a miserable experience. She then went on to go to university in Michigan and study engineering, where she was the only woman and one of the only minorities. So, difficult time for her. And she said she never wants any of her employees to feel that way. And at Southwest Airlines, they work hard to include everyone and to make them feel good. We should mirror our customers. They should see themselves within our company. Also, to treat each other with the golden rule that Colleen Barrett also mentioned: do unto others as they would have them do to you. Um, at Southwest Airline, our commitment to diversity and inclusion and celebrating the rich cultures of our employees and customers isn't limited to a month-long celebration. We are proud to host and sponsor events throughout the year in an effort to honor the history and culture of the African American community. Southwest Airlines named 2016 African American History Year, not just month. So there are several events throughout the year. One of the recent ones was they co-sponsored the NAACP Image Awards. Um, and every year they have a diversity summit. So this is something that's ingrained in their culture, and is not just an occasional celebration. This brings me to the 5 practices of leadership. People are the best leaders when they embrace these 5. Number 1, model the way. Um, I feel like I model the way by creating a classroom culture and behaving in a certain way that shows my students what I expect of them. I expect honesty and I expect respect. Um, the biggest mistake you could ever make is being too afraid to make one. If this means I need to show the children my terrible Korean to make them aware that they are free to make mistakes in English, it's language learning, and it's all about communication. I also teach them to share their opinions and work as a team, and to feel free to say and do what they would like in a comfortable and safe environment. Um, I teach them the difference between fact and opinion. You can't argue with an opinion, and everyone is free to have their own. I teach them to respect each other. It'll be impossible to learn a language if you don't feel safe in the space. Inspire to share vision. I try to communicate with my staff and my coworkers as best I can with a language barrier, so that we can create a vision together of what I want my classroom to be like. Traditional Korean learning can be very dry and very by rote. So I try to encourage creativity in my classroom, and I want the kids to use their imagination and be able to communicate. I do this through music and art and dance and movement and telling jokes and playing and doing fun things. And I want the kids to know, as well as the staff, that that's something that we can do together. Three is challenge the process. Um, just as much as we have to imagine, I believe we also have to reimagine. There are ways things have been done traditionally here, and just because it's the tradition doesn't mean it's the best way. So sometimes in Korea, they are stuck in the old ways, and you just need to show them that there are other ways to achieve great results. One of them is by the classroom setup, classroom structure. We had the traditional classroom setup for years and didn't change it. I want to reimagine and redesign and group students so that they can best talk to each other and communicate and work together as a group. And that sometimes I'm on their level. I'm not looming over a class of students, seeming to be an authority figure. I'm on their level. I'm making eye contact, and that they can work together with me and as a group. Enable others to act. Um, Especially in language learning, I feel like you need to foster relationships and learn as a team. I like to give my students choices in how they learn. I give them options of what they want to do, and they feel that they have ownership and that they are partly in charge of their education. I feel that if you give the students choices and help them foster relationships, give them options of the future, what will happen for them if they are allowed to speak English and encourage the globalism, that it creates a culture where they're positive and they embrace their language learning. Encourage the heart. I like to celebrate victories with enthusiasm and really form relationships with my students. They're all amazing, amazing kids, and I have important relationships with all of them. Here's Eric. He didn't see me for a few weeks and made me a little welcoming home uh, decoration. Um, my kids are amazing, and I know part of situational leadership is forming individual relationships with all these kids, and when you have a lot, it can be difficult, but I try my best to make sure that nobody is left out and everyone feels ownership in and included in the educational process. I want them to be the best that they can be and to encourage them to learn in the future. And when they're this young, I'm setting a path for them to be excited to learn English for the rest of their lives. Thank you.